Hey everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is the daily show where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campia.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the AMC Book Club. Mark Ellis is reading a book. This is amazing. Right here, coming to you from the AMC Movie News Burbank studios, right here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Yes, also at the round table is AMC's Mark Ellis.
Book is so good. It's all this black stuff in here.
And AMC's Christian Harloff.
It's like an ape fiddling sticks. Hello, everybody.
Well, listen, folks, we thought today we would do a kind of a special thing. Not a lot of news in the world of movies today. And you know that every once in a while, we really like to just get on Twitter and just take your Twitter questions. So we're going to mix a little bit of that with a little bit of our animation movie madness tournament. As many of you guys will remember, last Friday, we started our, what has been annual, maybe we'll do it a few more times a year, our movie madness tournament. This year it's all about the best animated films of all time. We introduced you to the bracket of 32, the 32 films are on. I think if we've got that, let's bring that up. The 32 films that were on, this is what it looked like. We had the Lasseter bracket and we had the Miyazaki bracket, a whole bunch of very interesting first round matchups. And today we have for you the results of round two, or the results of round one, with the resulting round two matchups. So let's get started with the first result from last week. The matchup, of course, was The Lion King against Fantasia. Should mention a little over 15,000 votes were cast. And The Lion King took 89.3% of the vote. Fantasia took 10.7% of the vote. No surprise here, Lion King wins by a landslide. Were either of you guys surprised by the amount of that?
No,
you go ahead.
This is what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see The Lion King just win. I wanted to see a blowout runaway victory, and that's exactly what The Lion King delivered.
I actually didn't think Fantasia would get double digits.
He hates Fantasia so much.
Oh, that's right.
I do. Yeah. I mean, look.
It's like me. It's like if I'm watching the Yankees-Red Sox game, it's just like I just want to see a beatdown.
It's cute that Mickey dresses up like Gandalf. It's a neat NyQuil trip to take, but The Lion King could win this entire tournament, so I'm glad it just steamrolled Fantasia.
All right, so The Lion King moves on. The Fantasia is now out of the tournament. Moving on to the next result, we had Spirited Away against Pinocchio. This was the closest of all the first round matchups. Pinocchio wins 52.7% to Spirited Away's 47.3%. I'm a little surprised. I mean, obviously a lot more people have seen Pinocchio than have seen Spirited Away, but Spirited Away, so deservedly so, has so much support because it is one of the greatest animated films of all time. I thought it might have a chance, but Pinocchio just pulls it out. Surprised?
I'm surprised that it got as high as it did, Spirited Away, not because it's not a good movie, but because, like you said, I don't think a lot of people have seen it. And I think that if more people, from what I hear about it, I haven't seen it. So everyone who has seen it raves about it. And I think if the majority of people who maybe voted for Pinocchio who hadn't seen it saw it, you probably would be looking at Spirited Away as your winner.
Yeah, I thought these movies were properly seeded in the tournament because neither one winning would be a big upset. And Pinocchio, I think it's just a little too iconic. People have, when they get stuck in the whale or the Lost Boys, all that stuff. Yeah, right. The Blue Fairy. Not a Blue Fairy, the Blue Fairy.
All right, let's bring up the next one here. And the next first round matchup that we've got our results in for comes in the form of Howl's Moving Castle against Frozen. Another fairly close one, but Frozen takes it. Frozen wins with almost 60% of the vote. Howl's Moving Castle with about 40% of the vote. A little closer than I thought it would be. I knew Frozen was going to win this and move on to the second round. I don't know if we'll get much further in the second round, but no surprise to me. Either of you guys?
No, Frozen's everybody's darling though, so I'm not sure it's going to go out in the second round. It's so in everybody's mind. It's ingrained because it so recently came out. I think Frozen's got a chance to advance even further.
It has a chance, but I think against going Howl's Moving Castle, just like Spirited Away battle, is that you talk about a beast of a movie. It's fresh in everyone's mind. So right now I got the vote, but when you put it up against another favorite that everyone else has seen, I'm curious.
Could have problems.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. And our next heads-up matchup from round one comes in the form of WALL-E versus Monster Inc. I count this one as an upset. Monsters Inc. beats WALL-E, one of only 3 films Sorry, I keep getting that wrong. WALL-E was not nominated for Best Picture, but really could have been. 56.4% for Monsters, Inc., 43.6% for WALL-E. Very tight, very close. 2 Pixar huge films. I was a little bit surprised, but Monsters, Inc. takes it. Your guys' thoughts?
I love that this happened. First of all, I love upsets. A 13 beating a 4 is impressive. Plus, I think WALL-E was overseeded. I think WALL-E was way too high. I think WALL-E should have been a 7 or an 8 as opposed to a 4, and he got his comeuppance. He's a boring robot. He likes show tunes. Just clean up garbage, kid.
Yeah.
I like WALL-E more than you do, but I agree with you. I think that Monsters, Inc. should have been seeded over WALL-E. When the seeding was going through, I thought Monsters, Inc. would take it no problem. Surprised WALL-E did as well as it did. WALL-E's a great movie, but Monsters, Inc. to me is the movie that when you talk about Pixar, everyone brings it up as one of their favorites. So I'm surprised that it was the lower seed against WALL-E.
All right, and we move on to the next first round matchup and our results. And this one comes in the form of Ratatouille, the number 6 seed, taking on the number 11 seed Dumbo. No surprise here. Ratatouille takes it 65.1% of the vote to 34.9% of the vote. Actually, Dumbo did better than I thought it would. Any surprises from you guys?
If you look at Dumbo as a basketball team, they have a couple real studs and they have some flaws. I mean, if you go back and you watch Dumbo, you're going to cringe at a couple of parts. It's really sad when Dumbo loses his mom, but there's other parts when it's like, my God, this movie would not get made today the same way.
And what's the ABA? That's what it feels like.
It feels like an ABA.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next item, or the next round of first round matchup that we have in our tournament here is we had a number 3 seed, Beauty and the Beast, against a number 14 seed, The Little Mermaid. Much debate and discussion on our first episode of our animation thing. Me and the 3 ladies at the table were thoroughly against me in this, and they broke out into a Little Mermaid singing and dancing. But Beauty and the Beast, as predicted, takes the first round, actually pretty handily, wins with 66.6% of the vote versus The Little Mermaid's 33.4% of the vote. I actually thought it beat it a little more thoroughly than I thought it would. I thought it'd be a little bit closer, but I'm glad to see Beauty and the Beast moves on.
Beast is going to be a beast in this tournament.
It could win this.
Could be the winner. And so Little Mermaid, that was a tough battle. I think I would have liked to see Little Mermaid against WALL-E and seeing how that would have went down. That would have been interesting. But it had no shot against Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, look, everybody loves The Little Mermaid. It had a great regular season, but it ran into a buzzsaw. Beauty and the Beast I think there's so much buzz around the live action film, and it is like The Little Mermaid was 89, Beauty and the Beast was the next big Disney film, and it just kept ramping up. Disney got better and better and better as the 90s went on.
All right, let's bring up the next one. Next first round matchup that we have to look at the results for, and we have got the number 7 seed, The Secret of NIMH, versus the number 10 seed, Jungle Book. We knew this was going to be close. I was really keeping my fingers crossed for The Secret of NIMH, but just not enough people have even seen it. So Jungle Book takes it, a great film, classic in its own right, 71.5% to 28.5%. The Jungle Book moves on. Secret of NIMH is eliminated. No surprises?
No, it bums me out a bit, but you kind of saw it coming.
I never saw that rat movie.
So good.
Bare necessities. King Louis, Shere Khan, come on.
Yeah.
I love Secret of NIMH. More of you should go make sure you get a chance and watch Secret of NIMH. All right, let's move on to the next first round matchup. And I've lost track how many we have left here. But the next one is we have a number 2 seed, Toy Story 2, one of the very few 100% movies on Rotten Tomatoes over the long haul, versus the number 15 seed, The 101 Dalmatians. Actually closer than I thought this would be, but Toy Story 2 takes it 70% to 30%. Any surprises?
Have your dog spayed or neutered. I think that the Toy Story 2, actually, I thought it would be like an 85%. I think that I like 101 Dalmatians. I just didn't think it stood a chance against Toy Story 2.
I'll tell you why I think that it did higher than it did, because the special edition just came out on Blu-ray about last week. So I think that it was in more people's minds. So that's probably why I got it at 30%.
All right, let's bring up the next one here. Dennis, just tell me when we actually run out, because I've lost count of how many we've gone through. All right, the next first round matchup, we've got the number 8 Princess Mononoke versus the number 9 the Iron Giant. Again, I think an issue of not enough people seeing Princess Mononoke, although The Iron Giant is completely a beloved film, and it wins handily 73.3% to 26.7%. Iron Giant moves on to round 2. Princess Mononoke is out. Your thoughts?
Love The Iron Giant. I'm rooting for that. It's kind of like my sleeper to get as far as it can. I love that movie so much. And it's another one I have not seen, Princess Mononoke. So I understand why it probably lost. That's what everyone says. I know.
So
I need to watch.
You look at the vocal talent in both of these movies, then the Princess one takes the cake. But I think Iron Giant is just people cry watching that movie. Adults cry watching The Iron Giant.
Vin Diesel's best role.
Yeah, this introduces to Brad Bird. And all right, let's move on to the next one. And the next result from round one, we have, as it comes up here, the number 5 seed, The Incredibles, versus the number 12, the classic Snow White. Incredibles steamrolls it 79% to 21%. I think we all saw this coming. This is pretty expected. Yes?
Yeah, but I'm bummed out that Snow White didn't do better, just because it's the first like actual full length animation film. And to see it get destroyed by such, a current movie and a great movie that it got beat by, but it's still, it's Snow White.
This was my 12-5 upset that I was calling in the first round. And
Really?
Snow White was going to win?
Yeah, because Snow White, it's Snow White. You just think Snow White. The Incredibles is a great film. There's other Pixar films that I think are better. I love The Incredibles, but Snow White is like, she's walking around Disneyland every day. I mean, she's iconic. So yeah, it's sad to see that one go in the first round.
She's too happy, maybe.
Too happy. All right, let's move on to the next matchup in first round. And the next matchup we have comes in the form of the number 4 seed, the original Toy Story, versus the number 13 seed, Bambi. Again, landslide win for Toy Story, 84.5% to 15.5% for Bambi. Again, no surprises here. It's the movie that kind of started it all for this new generation of animated filmmaking versus a timeless classic, but it was just outclassed.
Yeah, I don't know if the seating will allow it. I'm not sure, but if it does, I think Toy Story and Beauty and the Beast should be the final 2. I think that's probably what's going to happen. If that can line up.
We'll look at
that
the
way.
bracket again here in a minute when it comes up.
Yeah.
Toy Story taking the role of the hunters from Bambi in the first 5 minutes. Just ruthless.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring up the next matchup. And our next matchup in round 1 comes in the form of the number 6 seed, Grave of the Fireflies, versus the number 11 seed, The Nightmare Before Christmas. This, I'm going to tell you right now, this is one the Grave of the Fireflies should have won, but this is not surprising at all, though. Very, very few people have seen it. This incredible film. But hey, Nightmare Before Christmas is in this tournament for a reason. It is also really beloved. It deserves to be up there, but it wins by a landslide, 75.3% of the vote to 24.7% of the vote. Your thoughts?
I like the clash of animation styles that we're going against here, because I think not enough people saw Grave of the Fireflies to maybe make it a fair fight. I thought it could have taken on Nightmare Before Christmas, but this is an interesting movie to have going forward in the tournament because it's so different than anything else you're going to see in any one of these films.
And just watching all these matchups, it reminds you, it's like the little teams who try. They just don't have the budget. They just don't have the budget.
And this is one of the things I love about doing these tournaments is that we hope that it introduces you guys to films you haven't either one heard of or haven't had a chance to check out, because I've been getting a lot of tweets from people saying, I had this one tweet from this guy holding up a picture of these DVDs he just ran out and got of Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away and Grave of the Fireflies because he's never seen them, and that gives me goosebumps. I love that. So we hope you guys will check out a lot of these great films. All right, let's move on to the next first round matchup. And the next first round result that we have is in the form of the number 3 seed Up. This was an interesting one, man. Number 3 seed Up versus number 14, the first How to Train Your Dragon. Even though this was a 3 against a 14, I thought this one could have been ridiculously close, but it ends up, and I've lost the percent. Can you bring that back up again? I just lost percentages. Up wins it. Not really a surprise. I thought it might have been a little bit closer, though. 63.1% to 36.9%. Your thoughts?
I'm surprised because I predicted pretty much a lot of these wins, but this one I was wrong. I thought that How to Train Your Dragon for me is the overall better movie. I think a lot of people are attached to that opening of Up, which is a really good movie, but everyone remembers that opening and how emotional you felt in it. Second half, to me, that movie falls apart a little bit. So I wanted How to Train Your Dragon.
See, while you're right, the first part of that movie gets you. I could watch that movie after the first part is done and still watch it 100 times. Yeah, I really did.
Up is one of those movies that could win the entire tournament or lose any one of these games. I think I like the matchup between Pixar and DreamWorks. It's like Up comes from a better conference, so it's a little more battle tested. But How to Train Your Dragon, I mean, again, it's sad to see a movie that good be out of the tournament this early.
Sinead, you've watched both. I'm just curious, for your take on Up versus How to Train Your Dragon, which one would you have voted for?
I would have voted for How to Train Your Dragon.
Really?
It's like my probably top 2 favorite animated films of all time.
It was so surprisingly good.
It's got an ET feel to it.
Yeah, it does. And it was one of the most surprising films I've seen. All right, moving on in the tournament, the next first round matchup. And we had, as we wait for it to come up here, the number 7, Finding Nemo versus the number 10, Akira. Again, I think we all knew which was going to take this. I was kind of hoping to be a little bit closer. But anyway, Finding Nemo, a beloved animated film, comes in and takes it at 73.9% to Akira's 26.1. Finding Nemo moves on. Akira goes home. Your thoughts?
Akira has hardcore fans too, though.
Hardcore.
I mean, like if this was a basketball game, those fans would have showed up in force driving buses. They would have been so loud. But Finding Nemo is just too. It's a juggernaut. It's too big.
It's a monster. You're not touching. I would have been curious to see like if Akira went up against like Princess Mononoke, how that would have done in that area too. But you put it up against Nemo, it's like putting it up against Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Next first round matchup, we have the results from the number 2 seed Aladdin versus the number 15 seed Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. You know what? I'm thrilled it got 15.6%. I didn't think it would be that high, and I'm so glad it did. This is a treasure of a little movie, but Aladdin is going to be one of the juggernauts in this whole tournament. It wins 84.4% to 15.6%. I think a very good showing for Wallace and Gromit.
This is an upset that it didn't get to 95%. So yeah, I like Wallace and Gromit as well too. Yeah, you're not touching on Aladdin.
It was the sacrificial lamb. I mean, Aladdin it's just too good. Aladdin's another one of these teams that can win the whole thing very easily.
All right, let's move on. The next first round matchup, and we've got. Oh, was that it? No, is this the last one? Yeah. This is the last one. All right, and we had the number 1 seed, the Toy Story 3 versus a number 16 seed in Wreck-It Ralph. Actually, you know what? This is the one that I knew that a number 1 versus 16 was going to be closer than a number 1 versus 16 should be. And it still wins handily, but still, look at those numbers, 62.2% versus 37.8%. Wreck-It Ralph is so good and delightful. Yeah. Nice to see it do that well, but no surprise in the ultimate result.
This would have been the most entertaining game to watch in round 1. There's just there's so much scoring, there's so many characters, there's so much nostalgia between Toy Story 3 and Wreck-It Ralph. You have toys versus video games. I love everything about this matchup. I don't know. I don't know who I would have wanted to win in this, but I think that Toy Story 3, I don't see Toy Story 3 advancing much farther than this simply because there's so many other good animated films. I think Wreck-It Ralph could have posed some problems for other movies in this tournament, though.
It's going to have a better shot in a couple of years, too, when there's Wreck-It Ralph 2 and then 3, as well as a franchise behind it. Then we'll put them up against the franchise of Toy Story.
All right, so that is all of the results from round 1, which sets us up for round 2. If we got that graphic of the bracket and see how this matches up here. So this is what the bracket looks like now. I know a lot of you guys, I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people tweeting me pictures of their brackets, and a lot of them are getting thrown out now. But here we go. So we go, let's look now at individually at our next round 2 matchups. And the first round 2 matchup that we've got here comes in the form of, as we've got some system problems. So the number 1 seed Lion King, which of course moves on, it now goes up against the number 9 seed, which won its first round match, the Iron Giant. It's sadly, it's no contest. The Lion King should win that. We always talk about should and will. The Lion King should win this. The Lion King will win this. It won't be a 90 to 10% thing. I think it's going to be closer to like 70-30, but it's going to be handily and it's going to be overwhelming.
I think it could be 80-20.
I say 80-20. Yeah.
And Vin Diesel get in that car and just drive the hell out of Dodge, man.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the next second round matchup. The next second round matchup, as a result of the first round results, comes us in the form of the number 5 seed, The Incredibles, versus number 4, the original Toy Story.
This is a good fight.
Oh my God. I should win Toy Story. Incredibles is so beloved. You're talking about, when Pixar comes up, to me, when Pixar comes up, Incredibles is always in the conversation. And it's the one film that whenever talks of what movie doesn't have a sequel that should, everybody talks about The Incredibles. I'm going to go Toy Story, but I think this is going to be close.
I think that Toy Story sequels that are also in this tournament actually hurt its chances. I think that people see Toy Story and they're like, oh, well, Toy Story 2 might win here. Toy Story 3 might win here. I think The Incredibles could take this matchup.
I think it's because I agree with your point, but I think because it's the original, that's going to, a lot of people are going to go, well, that's the one that really did it. I think 55-45, Toy Story wins.
It's going to be tight. Yeah. It's going to be tight. And don't forget, guys, look in the description of this video and you will find the link where you guys determine the results of these matchups. Click on that link that you'll see in our description below, and it will take you to where you vote on the poll. And because this ultimately is in your hands. With that being said, let's move on to the next second round matchup. And as a result of the first round, we've got the number 11 seed, The Nightmare Before Christmas, versus the number 3 seed, Up. Hey, it was a nice run for Nightmare Before Christmas, but the run's done. Up is going to win this.
I don't think it's going to win so easily, though.
Really?
I think the clash of animation styles, Nightmare Before Christmas, it's just that quirky movie that can give something like Up problems.
85-15.
Oh, that much.
Up wins pretty easy. Yeah.
I think this is more like a 65-35 situation.
I might even go. I might go 60-40.
Yeah.
But I think it's not going to be close. You know what I mean? All right. Let's see what's next here. The next second round matchup as a result of the first round, we've got the number 7 Finding Nemo against number 2 Aladdin. This is where it starts to get interesting. I vote Aladdin.
Yeah.
I mean, I vote Aladdin easy, but Finding Nemo has a lot of very young, very passionate, enthusiastic fans.
Great movie.
But I still think it's going to be Aladdin.
I do too, and I think it's probably going to be higher than you think, but it's going to be everyone who goes to vote is going to look at the match and go,
yeah.
But it's also got the Robin Williams factor, man.
Yeah.
I think Aladdin wins handily 67-33.
Wow.
That's actually
that's
pretty good.
But once again, really, it's up to you guys who wins this. Make sure you vote in that thing below. All right, and we've got the next round, the next matchup for round number 2, and we have it in the form of the number 1 seed, Toy Story 3, against the number 9, Pinocchio. Hey, kudos to Pinocchio for moving around to round 2, but this could be a 95-5.
Pinocchio's going to win. Oh, wait, my nose is grown. Put it back in. No, it's going to. Toy Story 3 destroys it.
You had a nice run being a real live boy. You're back to a piece of wood, buddy. Sorry.
All right, what's next here? We still have another one, right? We got a couple more. All right, so let's move on, and we've got the number 12 seed Frozen against the number 13 seed Monsters, Inc., a 12 and a 13 in round 2. 70-30 Monsters, Inc. 70-30.
I don't know if it's going to be that high, but I agree with you. I think Monsters, Inc. is going to beat it, and I think it'll probably be even closer, 55-45 again.
There seems to be some sort of Frozen backlash. Like people either love Frozen or they can't stand it. It's like Duke. Like they just don't know if they want it in the tournament or they hate it. I think that Frozen is just going to lose. This is going to be a very close game. I'm thinking like 55-45.
Really?
Monsters, Inc.
That'll be interesting to see. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next round 2 matchup we have comes in the form of number 6 Ratatouille against number 3 Beauty and the Beast. Oh,
he's a good cook, but see you later.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast is going to win that. I mean, Beauty and the Beast is going to win. I think I'm going to go with the 55-45 where you're talking about. I think it's going to be closer than people think, but I would give the vote to Beauty and the Beast myself.
I think the sanitation department is finally going to get that rat out of the restaurant. I think Beauty and the Beast wins 70-30.
I say 60-40, but close.
I love Ratatouille. I love that movie. So now, is this the last one? All right, last one. The last second round matchup we've got here is number 10, The Jungle Book, versus number 2, Toy Story 2. And I'm going to call it, I think all 3 Toy Story movies advance to the third round. Oops, I accidentally hit my sheet. I do that all the time. Hey, it's both great movies, everything, but it's Toy Story, man.
Yeah,
it's going to be there.
I'm calling an upset. I want The Jungle Book going ahead because Toy Story 2 is the lamest of the 3 Toy Stories, which are all great movies. I think this is the one that's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. If there's no reason to think The Jungle Book can win, but my God, Mowgli, I was raised by wolves too. I think that you're going to upset Toy Story 2.
Well, we know his bracket's busted.
All right, let's bring up that bracket again. So once again, here's the bracket. Don't forget, guys, this is all about you and your vote. Make sure you go to that link in the description and go and cast your vote for the second round. We got Lion King versus, in the last bracket, I should say, we have Lion King versus The Iron Giant. We got The Incredibles versus Toy Story. We have The Nightmare Before Christmas versus Up. We have Finding Nemo against Aladdin. In the Miyazaki bracket, we have Toy Story 3 versus Pinocchio. We have Frozen versus Monsters, Inc. We have Ratatouille versus Beauty and the Beast. And we have The Jungle Book versus Toy Story 2. And next Friday, right here on AMC Movie Talk, we will announce all the results of round 2, your results that you guys determine, and of course the round 3 matchups. Make sure you guys join us for that. With all that being said and out of the way, we're going to spend a little bit of time now here taking your guys' Twitter questions. It's a Friday. It's a laid-back day. We're going to take all your Twitter questions now. We've got a bunch of them lined up. So, Sinead, what do we have?
At SWilson99 says, since it is Quentin Tarantino's birthday, happy birthday, what is your one favorite Tarantino scene?
My personal favorite Tarantino scene is a recent one. It's actually from a movie I didn't even like the first time I saw it, and now I love it. Inglorious Basterds.
There you go. It's mine.
And it's that opening scene with the Jew hunter with the French dude having, or I think it was French.
Yeah.
Just that scene sitting at that table. How can you have that much tension, that much suspense, that much engagement, that much excitement in 2 guys sitting at a table talking for like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
awesome scene. It takes a master director to do a scene like that. You know what it reminds me a lot of? There's a scene in The King's Speech where you have the two main characters, Bertie and the king, just sitting in a room over talking. I think they were in the therapy office talking about a model airplane or something like that. And I just remember like 7 minutes of pure engagement of just two guys sitting at a table talking. That's what that scene reminds me of. It's awesome. It's my favorite Tarantino scene. I think I stole yours, didn't I?
You did, but there's so many to choose from. And I'll take one. I was going to go with the whole samurai scene with Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead, but in Pulp Fiction. But instead, I think that his use of music is so great, and he uses the music as if they are characters in his film. Like, you remember them. Like, anytime a song pops up in a movie, you remember it. And one of the songs is the Michael Madsen scene in Reservoir Dogs when he's dancing right before he's torturing a guy, cutting his ear off, and he's doing that dance. And anytime you hear that song,
here I am, stuck in
anytime, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You hear it, you think about it, and Michael Madsen sells the creepy. The cop is in such torture, but it's still memorable.
Quentin Tarantino's put a lot of bands and a lot of songs on the map that you've never heard before. That Steelers Weird one was already popular, but you hear it all the time now.
What you think of.
And that's what you think of now. For me, I'm going to take two scenes that have comedy where you don't think comedy is going to be involved at all. One of them is when Uma Thurman is passed out and they need to revive her in Pulp Fiction when they go to Eric Stoltz's place, and he's trying to tell John Travolta, he's like, no, this is how you do it. You got to pierce her breastplate. It's so funny to watch, and it's so like, oh my God, this is a real situation. The other one is in Django Unchained, when you have those guys who are in the Klan and you see what bumbling idiots they are. I was not expecting to laugh at that scene. I was all jacked up, and I was like, oh, this is going to be intense. And it's so disarmingly funny. And I just didn't expect to see that at all. So he brings things to the table in scenes that you don't expect to see. That's one of his best traits as a director.
Put the lime in the
coconut. Right. What's next?
At Pooh. At
Pooh the monkey?
I was like, at Pooh. Yeah, at Pooh19752 says, your thoughts on Matthew McConaughey joining the Billionaires Vinegar?
Actually, really fascinating. Christian and I were just actually talking about this. It's based on a true story. If you didn't hear, Matthew McConaughey was just announced. We'll probably talk about it on Movie Talk on Monday, probably. But it just announced McConaughey is going to lead this film. And it's based on a true story about the most expensive bottle of wine that ever sold. I think it sold at auction for like $156,000 for a bottle of wine. And it was like a 1792 or something like that bottle of wine. But it was fake, or I think it was fake. And there's this whole mystery that goes on, and this person goes on this adventure basically trying to figure out the validity of it. It sounds amazing to me. I'm excited for it. If this were buy and sell, I would say buy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was owned by Thomas Jefferson, or is purported to be owned by Thomas Jefferson, and it's a hilarious story. And I'm interested to see what McConaughey's tone with and what the overall film does with this story. Is it going to be primarily a comedy? Is it going to be more of a thriller? Is it going to be a mystery? I'm intrigued by this, and the fact that McConaughey seems to be able to do anything in Hollywood right now. He can be funny, he can be serious, he can do anything he wants. So sure, why not?
Minus the car commercials. Let's get rid of those. But yeah, I agree. When John was telling me about because he said, have you heard about this? I was like, no. And then he started to tell me what it was about. And I was like, that sounds great, because I could picture McConaughey in a role. I don't even know what it is, but I can picture him doing so, whether or not he's the guy who maybe fabricates it or is selling it or tries to get it. I don't know what he does, but I'd like to watch it. And it sounds very interesting, especially the time period. I don't know if there's going to be flashbacks about how the bottle was first placed there. It sounds pretty cool.
All right, what's next?
At Camila's Lil Poppy says, you must talk about Deadpool today because...
Yeah, so apparently this morning, Ryan Reynolds tweeted out a picture of him, and that one of the hashtags was official Deadpool costume.
That's great.
I think, which is kind of funny, because when I look at the picture, it kind of a little bit looks to me animated. Yeah. A little bit like it did in that test footage that got leaked last year. But he says it's the official Deadpool costume, and if that's the costume, and that's Ryan Reynolds in the costume, that looks effing awesome. Yeah. That looks really good. And the pose reminds me of the George Costanza seduction pose. It looks exactly like something Deadpool would do. I think it looks incredible, and it's quite exciting.
I love it. I love it so much, because we've talked about this many times in this show, to where when he was Deadpool and that other one, when his mouth was taped up, the Merc with the mouth didn't have a mouth. And they're not handcuffed by those studio execs anymore. They're doing the vision that they want to do. That's it, baby. That's the vision right there. And you saw that from that test footage. He's got a lock in this character that proves it.
Yeah, he's a serious warrior, but he also has a sense of humor. I mean, that's everything you get from that picture. So I was already on board with this movie. That's exactly what I was hoping Deadpool would look like. So bring it on.
All right, what's next?
Anthony Williams tweets, how did Alicia Malone come to work for you guys? P.S. Alicia is amazing.
Alicia is amazing. We love Alicia. The way Alicia, and I don't mind taking these like kind of behind the scenes questions every once in a while. Alicia Malone came to work with us almost a year ago. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a year.
About a year ago, where we were getting ready for expansion. We were already laying the groundwork for phase 3 a long time ago. And we were getting ready for expansion. We needed a little bit more talent. And we put out word throughout our circles that says we're looking to bring on a couple more people who would be good and awesome and all this kind of stuff. And it was awesome. I've told the story before, but we got resumes from like 50 people that were like about 30 of them are people I would pinch myself to work with. Like people I've been a fan of in our industry for years. People I have actually tried to hire before, have applied and stuff like that. And we were just, big part of the thing was fit. And that's an Alicia Malone, whose resume is incredible. The amount of work that she has done and who she has worked with and what she has done. And I've run into her a lot of times at junkets and things like that. And she was one of those people. Christian Harloff was actually in that same round. Which was awesome, and so both of them came on board at that time, as well as the incredible Miri Jedikin, who's recently moved on. But those were and then he started showing up, and then Mark Ellis started hanging around.
And he didn't leave.
It was like the puppy that shows up at your door. It's like, I guess he lives here now.
I was like that movie Radio, where you guys are like actually on the football field and I was like jogging on the sidelines back and forth. Like, I'm in the game.
I think more like the Water Boy.
Just don't stop making fun of me.
All right, what's next?
At Ravenclaw75 tweets, will AMC do a Back to the Future trilogy marathon on October 21st, 2015 to celebrate its 30th this year?
I am not aware of plans for that to happen. I will make some inquiries and find out if that's the case. Now, I know we did a Back to the Future special event like a year or 2 or 3 ago, commemorating one of the anniversaries as well. I know we've done it before, so it's certainly possible. One of the cool things that AMC does is bringing back these old films into theater to do some of these special screenings. So I wouldn't bet against it. I just haven't heard of anything myself. Would you guys be interested in seeing like a on the big screen?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's one of those movies. I like when AMC does that, when they celebrate the 30 years of or anniversaries of classics, and Back to the Future's classic.
Yeah, when I was at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio, Gardino actually asked me that question in person.
Really?
There's an AMC
really?
like right next to the comedy club, and so he was like, "Hey, they should do a Back to the Future trilogy in a theater." And I'm like, I would totally go see that. And I'd stay for all 3 movies. It's not, even though I love Back to the Future much more than 2 or 3, I would stay for all 3 movies because it's thrilling to see that kind of stuff on the big screen.
Just hearing the score, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the AMC headquarters in Kansas, they have these 2 like 25-foot by like 30-foot screens, and they play AMC Movie Talk on there. So I know everybody at head office at AMC is hearing this. So there you go. People want a Back to the Future. Let's see if I have no influence there whatsoever. Let's see what happens. All right, what's next?
Michael Pittman tweets, does product placement help pay for a movie's budget?
No, it doesn't help pay for a movie's budget. It's just that it's yet another revenue stream that the producers of the movie get to have. Like some people are under the misguided, perception that, oh, look, that guy has a can of Coke on the table. Coke paid them $40 million to put it in. That's not how much money gets done. But remember, these producers, any dollar helps. And so while it does not go towards the budget of the film, it's another revenue stream for the producers to bring in money to offset those production costs. Have you had much experience with that type of thing?
No, I mean, I agree. I think that's, it depends on what the product is, how the deal's like. When you look at a movie like Transformers 4 with all the
Budweiser
blatant product placement, it doesn't, I wonder how much they put into it. There's certain deals that absolutely pay for more, but not so significant.
Right.
Yes. I mean, you guys are right. Yeah, I don't know much about product placement. I just know that you should watch Demolition Man and see that Taco Bell won the restaurant wars. And for the funniest spoof of that, Wayne's World, in the first Wayne's World, when they're making fun of product placement and Garth is decked from head to toe in Reebok, it's pretty funny.
All right, let's take one more.
At Nicholas Sergey tweets, what's your favorite Ed Harris performance? Why does he not go for lead roles? He is fantastic. You should watch Abyss.
You just answered my thing, Abyss. I loved him in Abyss. I love that movie. Why doesn't Ed Harris, why doesn't he go for lead roles? Well, we don't know if he does or he doesn't. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm not completely sure how old Ed Harris is right now, but there's not a lot of feature films coming out that call for an actor the age of Ed Harris right now in the leading role. So it's not that Ed Harris isn't a good enough actor to land lead roles. It's like, well, okay, yeah, but does he fit the lead roles that these movies have right now? And the fact of the matter is there's not a lot of lead roles for actors in their late 60s, early 70s. I don't know. Maybe Ed Harris is 48 and I'm completely insulting him right now.
You're right.
There's just not a lot of movies out there right now that call for those types of actors in those lead roles. And you know what? I don't care. Yeah. Ed Harris is a terrific actor. Put him in anything in, like, what was that one he did with Viggo Mortensen, A History of Violence?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you give him a 3-minute spot in the movie or a 10 minutes spot, he adds so much to every movie with whatever role he's in. Just get him in those films and I'm happy.
Even the movie Run All Night. He's on the poster right there. And he was great in that. He has a certain gravitas to him that anytime you see him, he just brings a certain power, and you do know his name, and he doesn't need to be the lead. He's one of those guys that it serves him probably better to do those other roles, and they're bigger roles that he's in. For me, now The Rock is one that I thought he adds a lot to because he didn't play. You kind of understood where he was coming from, and it wasn't a clear-cut villain. There was a reason why he was doing what he was doing. But my favorite Ed Harris is The Truman Show. Christoph.
Yeah.
The name in general and that hat.
That beret he would be wearing.
Yeah, that movie was so ahead of its time with the reality producer and the way he took advantage of Truman and that warped kind of godlike feel that he had about himself. So I loved him in that movie.
Yeah, was he in Pollock? I think he almost won an Academy Award for either Pollock or Basquiat, one of those. And I think that my favorite Ed Harris performance is him in Apollo 13 because he just lends such a credibility to NASA when they're trying to figure out how the hell do we get these guys back home, and he plays it cool the whole time. He's the perfect guy that you want in charge. A lot of his roles reflect that he looks like a great leader of men. He's going to get you to the promised land. He may not see it himself, but he's going to take care of everybody else.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for this episode of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and, of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you will find a link to our podcast feed. And big important thing, if you have not done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. A lot of you already have. Add to the number. So join on board. And, hey, listen. We are in now AMC Movie News Phase 3. We have launched a number of new shows. One of the great new shows we have launched, of course, is AMC Jedi Council, which the new episode of that went up last night. AMC Rewind with Alicia Malone and John Schnepp went up online actually this morning. Make sure you go check that out. Talking about all classic old school Hollywood stuff. We've got AMC Heroes with John Schnepp. We got AMC Coming Soon, coming this Monday. Just make sure you check out all the things we got going on. I want to thank the guy sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
You can always find me at your local library, and I'll also be at 5150 Ellis, Twitter and Instagram. Comedy Store this Saturday night in Hollywood.
Sitting right over here, one of the hosts, or the host, really, of our AMC Jedi Council show, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
At Christian Harloff on both Instagram and Twitter. And like John said, please check out episode 3 of Jedi Council. We're Mark 232 D2, whatever we're calling him right now. He's on there as well, too. And thank you for joining us yesterday. It was really a fun show, and I'd love to get your opinion on it.
And, of course, our lovely host today, Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com.
And you can find me just on Twitter or on Facebook. Just follow me at John Campia. So that'll do it for us, guys. Don't forget to vote. Send in your votes for the Animation Movie Madness Tournament. Give us our results for round 2. We'll make sure we make those announcements on Friday. That'll do it for us. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, bye-bye.